Hi everyone, we're going to continue talking about American imperialism and expansionism, and we're going to talk about Panama and the Panama Canal today. So we're going to do this real quick. Let's get to it. So first of all, we have to realize that Panama was once part of this country called Colombia, which still exists here. So at the very top of South America is this country Colombia, and it used to also extend out into Central America up here, the area known as Panama. So the US, well, really the French at first started to build a canal here, but failed. And we'll get into some of the reasons they failed later. Later, the US, our president, Teddy Roosevelt, wanted to continue that work and finish the canal. He believed the American engineers could take care of that. And now all a canal is a man-made waterway. They're literally going to dig up the earth and connect both bodies of water, the Gulf of Mexico over here, and connect it, literally dig up the ground, connect the water to the Pacific Ocean over here. So literally our ships could go through here, and we'll talk about those advantages in a second. Well, that's what Teddy Roosevelt and the United States wanted to do, except for Colombia said no. They would not let the US do it. So what President Roosevelt's going to do is, he realizes at this point Panama was having a little bit of a revolution going on. There were rebels in Panama who wanted Panama to be its own country. They didn't want to be a part of Colombia anymore. So Teddy Roosevelt thought, okay, if I help these rebels, maybe they'll promise to let me build the canal if I help them separate from Colombia. And that's exactly what he did. President Roosevelt used his big stick diplomacy, speak softly but carry a big stick, threaten them with the big stick, which we're going to say our Navy, which is our Navy, and basically threaten them with it to get what we want. So Roosevelt's going to send a naval warship down here, one of our strongest ones, and basically look at Colombia and say, hey, Colombia, Panama's going to be its own country now, right? And Colombia's not going to put up too much of a fight, and Panama is going to be able to declare their independence and become their own country and let the United States build a canal. That's the abbreviated version. So here's Panama connected to Colombia before independence, and after independence, here's Colombia, and Panama's right up here. So let's get to the canal. In the middle of Panama, there's this area where these lakes, this Gatun Lake right here. So what the United States wants to do is open a portion right here so ships through the Caribbean can come in and then exit through the Pacific Ocean. So we're going to have to open it up right here too. But there's going to be quite a few challenges, and let's get into those. So first of all, here's the reason why we want the canal. So if we were taking a standard trip from New York City, which you imagine would be right up here, and you wanted to go to San Francisco by boat on the other side of the United States, you would have to go 12,000 miles around South America towards this cold part here at Cape Horn and all the way around to get there. That's a long time. If we built the canal, it'll take less than 50% of the time to do that. So we're going to build the canal, if you're looking at my mouse cursor, right in here. Right here. I'm just zooming in. So America will literally try to dig up this area right here, blow it up, open it up, and connect it, and create a channel, create a canal that ships could go back and forth through to lower that distance. That's going to help out with trade. That's going to help out with sending military ships, naval ships through there. And it's going to really speed things up. And that's going to help our economy, our military, so on, so on. So now let's get into the challenges. There's a problem. Workers had to dig all the way down into the earth until they reached water and clear it deep enough for ships to go through. And they have to do that for a stretch of 51 miles. 51 miles isn't a lot if you're driving a car, but if you have to dig down into the earth and into the ocean, it's real hard. So they're going to use a few things. They're going to use these things called steam shovels, and they're going to use good old-fashioned dynamite. Let's look at a quick video of that. I'm going to skip right to the scene.
And in Panama,
there's that dynamite.
The temporary dam on Gamboa Lake was breached by a buried charge. The canal began to fill with water. A 500-year-old dream had been realized. The globe's two great oceans had been joined. Despite...
Just a quick look. So, with that dynamite's going to help connect the canal with the body of water, that lake that's in there, and allow ships to start flowing through. But there's other problems as well. There's lots of mosquitoes in Panama and in the Caribbean. It's a tropical area, and they're killing lots and lots of workers. This is why the French couldn't finish the canal the first time. These diseases, I mean, there was a disease called yellow fever that comes from mosquitoes that would kill lots and lots of Americans and the French before them. So the way the American engineers are going to combat this and stop this and make it safer for workers is they're going to spray these pesticides, spray insecticides all over the place to kill these mosquitoes so they can get their work done. They're also going to drain a lot of their swamps that existed there. Again, it's a tropical area. It's a very humid area. Lots of water, lots of swamps that breed mosquitoes. So far we're draining swamps. We're killing mosquitoes that carry yellow fever with pesticides, insecticides, and we're using steam shovels and dynamite to get this all done. So it's a large feat in engineering to get this done. And now our biggest one, which is a little complicated, something called the canal lock system. So as the ships would start coming through the canal, before we did that, we realized that the lake in the middle of Panama, if we go back over here, let's give you a good visual. Over here, it's a lot higher elevation. It's higher off the ground. So if we just open it up, the canal here and just break it open, all the water in the lake is going to flow out into the ocean. Flow it into the Caribbean and into the ocean. And then there's not going to be a lake, and how are you going to connect them? So what we have to do is we have to create a way to raise ships up going into the lake and passing through the canal, and then on their way out lowering them because they're going from higher elevation to lower elevation. So let's look at that. So here's a look at some of the locks that you would go in today. So you'd start off right in here, and this is the like ocean level. This is how high the ocean is, and you'd pull up right in here, and they'd close this little door behind you that looks like this, and then they would raise up the water to get you to the little higher elevation, and then these locks will open up, and then you'd move forward, and then again it would close behind you, and then they would raise up till it meets this level, and then they'd open them up, and you'd keep moving until you got to the higher elevation water. So that was a way to literally raise the ship up and move it across, and then get water out of the way on the way down and lower you down into the ocean. So let's look at a quick video of that. I'm not going to show you the whole thing. I just want to give you an example. So we have entered the lock at this point. you how it works. Now we're at the level of the lake, so they can now cross the lake until they get to the other side, and they're going to start going down. Get out. All right. So let's take one last look at this. Here's our map. New York to San Francisco. It's going to take 68 days to go from New York to San Francisco. That's a long time. Panama Canal. Now we've gone through the lake. We're going through the lock system to get across. Now it's only going to take 20 days. That's going to save time for ships to go across, help our people that are trading, our merchants, and help move our military vessels, our Navy, more quickly from the Atlantic to the Pacific Oceans. All right? That is Panama's independence and challenges to building the canal, as well as benefits of the canal.